Good morning to everybody.
Good morning. Good morning, ma'am.
I deem it a pleasure to be with you again this morning, and this topic is very, very important for every faculty member as well as a research student. Why? Because we have to prepare the tools, and the tools should be more, at least should have some validity and reliability. And the item in the last session we have studied, we came to know that how to prepare a research tool and how to standardize them. And you know that there are steps in standardization process. One is the preparation, then first one is the planning, then you try to recall. There are four steps. Planning, preparation, trying out, then evaluation. In trying out, we have seen preliminary tryout, group tryout, that is called as proper tryout, then final tryout. And in this final tryout, what we do is we do pilot study to establish the item validity and item reliability. And we analyze all the items one by one in terms of its strength, in terms of its trustworthiness, in terms of its truthfulness, whether the item that we have incorporated, whether the statement we have incorporated in our tool, whether the question that we have incorporated in the tool measures what we want to measure actually. Does it contribute to the purpose of our study? Will this statement or the question or the item has reliability? It should serve the purpose first, then it should be a reliable one. So, we try to analyze the items, each and every item in terms of its validity as well as reliability. So, item analysis is a technique to analyze every item qualitatively as well as quantitatively. Qualitatively, what we are doing? I told you. Through experts, by giving to the panel of judges, we try to see whether all the components that are related to the topic under study has been incorporated or not. Whether all the questions that are put are in the state or the way in which they need to be put, or whether the language correction is required, whether there is any ambiguity of words that we use. Why? Because the meaning that you convey should be received by the persons that who are going to respond. Otherwise, if you give a response, if you mean to say something and I mean to say some other thing, then it does not serve the purpose of my study. And like that, we have to analyze the items that we have incorporated in our tool by taking the suggestions of the panel of judges, and then we have to go for statistical analysis by establishing item validity and item reliability. And item validity and item reliability are nothing but the statistical techniques. And since it involves, item analysis is a technique to analyze the items, each and every item, qualitatively in terms of its content and form. form, language, etc. Then quantitatively in terms of their statistical characteristics. What are their statistical characteristics? Just now I said, in terms of their validity and reliability. In terms of their validity and reliability. And what is the major purpose of item analysis? The major purpose of item analysis, it is to retain only those items that contribute to the purpose of our study and eliminate or modify those items that does not have its strength. And so the major purpose of item analysis, it is one of the steps of process of standardization. And what we do, we try to retain only those items that suit our purpose and the rationale of the test being constructed or the tool being constructed. Another thing, it is an integral part of the establishment of validity and reliability of the whole test. Now, you are testing only each item's validity and reliability. By establishing each item's validity and reliability, it is going to contribute to the whole test validity and reliability. Do you follow? Is there anything which you are unable to follow, please? Please come out. Therefore, I can put in different way. Do you understand this concept? Yes. I am not getting some answer from that side. Their faces are revealing that they are unable to understand. See, take for example, you have prepared say some 50 items. Tell me a tool. Tell me any tool.
Questionnaire.
Attitude scale. An attitude scale. An attitude scale, 5-point scale or 3-point scale. So there are, like that we have 50 items. The tool that we have prepared should have validity and reliability. Before establishing this validity and reliability of the whole tool, you need to establish the validity and reliability of the whole tool. For that purpose, what you do is, for each and every item, you try to establish validity and reliability. So before establishing the whole test validity and reliability, for each item you are going to establish validity and reliability. And therefore it is an integral part of the whole test validity, establishment of whole test validity and reliability. Next please. What are the objectives of item analysis? See, item analysis, the major purpose or the major objective of item analysis is to select only those items, that has item validity and item reliability. Only those tools. Suppose out of 50 items of your tool, this tool is called as preliminary form of the tool. Preliminary form. For this 50 items, you are going to establish validity and reliability for each and every item. And by knowing these two things, what you are doing is, you are selecting those items that have validity and reliability. What are the other items? What you are going to do with other items? What you are going to do with other items? You have to discard.
Yes.
You have to discard or to change the language pattern. Sometimes it is necessary to change the language pattern because there may be some ambiguity. Therefore, your sample did not respond properly. Therefore, once again you change such items. Again you administer to a small sample and try to establish item validity and item reliability. So the major purpose of item analysis is to select those items in the final draft and to reject the poor items which do not contribute to the test, to the whole test. Then, if you are going to prepare an achievement test for that matter, you are going to, how your achievement test should be, how any achievement test should be. How do you prepare an achievement test? You keep blueprint in mind, no?
Yes.
As per the dash level, you prepare, you put the questions. What is that dash level? Difficulty level. And there should be
Content based.
yeah, as per the objective wise and as per the content subunit wise and again the difficulty level wise. And how do you see the difficulty level? How many questions you put under? Suppose if it is a 100 items test, how many you put under difficult level and how many you put under average level and how many you put under easy level? Easy, not poor, easy level. How many? What would be the percentage? What would be the percentage?
Like 10, 80, 10. 10 for high level, 10 for low level, 80 for moderate level.
Because then again you are considering this group as mostly an average group. Average group. Sometimes some people say at least 25% on either side should be, because 50%, our average should be more or less 50%. So 50%, or some people say 20%, when you give easy questions, 20%, let the same percentage of questions should be of difficult level and 60% should be moderate or average level. And some people say it all depends upon your ingenuity and the nature of the subjects, the purpose of the subjects, the purpose of your content, the purpose of your testing. All these things takes into consideration. Suppose if it is for a selection purpose, then majority will be more or less difficult because keeping in view the higher positions, level of positions. For IAS, the questions cannot be like that. And similarly for higher cadres, it will be more with higher difficulty level. And if it is for lower level, it will be as per the conditions that we have specified, we select like that.
Even the question papers that we give for our
the question papers that you prepare, that you follow, and difficult, moderate, easy items. And like that, even in an attitude scale, you should incorporate those such items that a smaller percentage of units either may have strongly disagree or similar percentage of units may have strongly disagree. Strongly agree, that component also we should take into account. And then to obtain the discriminative power, the item validity and item reliabilities are given by the This concept, discriminative power, this we call it as DP. And the earlier one we call it as DV, difficulty value. Difficulty value. For an achievement test, we calculate difficulty value as well as discriminative power. If it is an opinionaire or an attitude scale or an inventory, we confine to DP. DP, discriminative power. What is a discriminative power? It is the ability of the item. It is the ability of the item to discriminate. It is the ability of the item to discriminate the high ability group from the low ability group. It is the power of the item to discriminate the high-end group from the low-end group, leaving the middle. Leaving the middle. And if it is able to discriminate these two groups, then we have that item has discriminative power. And now,
We can say that in the percentage, 27% and 20%.
then I will come.
But in the evaluation, in the question paper, what you told that 20, 60, 20 or 25, 50, 25 for high level and low level, moderate level we can. But in this case, that agreeable, completely not agreeable, why we should go for lesser percentage?
I did not say lesser percent. I did
20
not.
or 20?
No, what I said, for an achievement test, depending upon the level and the purpose of your test, you have to fix the level of difficulty, that I said.
For agree and disagree, you don't know. That should be minimum.
These disagree and these are all subjective. Sorry,
You
objective.
will come to understand if I complete something else. If I complete something else. Okay? To discriminate the power of an each item. Then to obtain, it is with respect to achievement test. This point is with respect to achievement test, not with questionnaires or for interview schedules or anything else. Okay? To obtain information regarding the function of distractors. This is obtained through distractor analysis. Why? Because nowadays all entrance tests or selection tests are in multiple choice. Okay? Multiple choice. Many people select A. They put A or B. Put A for 10 questions. Put B for 10 questions. Put C for 10 questions. Like that they do. And see, one condition when you prepare a multiple choice tool, you should see the alternates that you are giving under A, B, C, D, E or A, B, C, D. You may have 5 choices or you may have 4 choices. The rule is at least there should be 4. And see, guesswork may be involving in our performance, is it not? And sometimes during 90s, sir, this I have experienced, sir. Please listen. But this I have experienced. During 90s, we have education common entrance test that will be conducted throughout Andhra Pradesh, the whole Andhra Pradesh, including Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. We used to evaluate the answer sheets manually, and one student selected B as his answer, and for all 150 items he put B. He got 35 marks. And do you think that person has knowledge?
Randomly he selected.
He randomly selected, put B, and he got 35. And as per the social background, the percentage of passes will also be different, no? And that person happened to, suppose that person happened to be belonging to downtrodden sections, he or she will definitely get a pass mark and he will get admission. And for that pass, in such cases, Guilford has given a formula to how stable each and every distractor is capable of discriminating the persons who knows answers correctly. That is called as distractor analysis. And that by doing this distractor analysis, we can obtain information regarding how alternate A can have the choice of being put as chance factor. And this will happen only in case of prognostic test. What are prognostic tests? What is a prognostic test? There are two types of tests in achievement. One is prognostic test, another is diagnostic test. Prognostic test is we take only right responses, ability tests. They are called as ability tests. Whereas in diagnostic test, we take only wrong responses to analyze why the person has put wrongly, what is the reason behind in understanding, and what shall we take it, how shall we take for remedial classes. For that purpose, we do only error analysis. In prognostic test, we do distractor analysis and to provide basis for modifications. And next. And what is the need for item analysis? As I said earlier, it is to select or to reject or to modify the test based on difficulty value and discriminative power. And if it is an achievement test, we incorporate those two. And if it is an inventory or attitude scale or rating scale, we go for only for discriminative power. If it is an achievement test, we classify students on the basis of their performance and for selection of candidates for job purposes and for grading and for prognosis and promotion of candidates and for establishing individual differences. All these things speak with respect to achievement tests. And in research, for verification of our hypothesis in research. Next please. What is a discriminative power? I just said simply. What is meant by discriminative power?
Ability of
Ability of the item to discriminate high group from the low group. It is the ability, very good. It is the ability of the item to differentiate or to discriminate the high ability high group from the low group. And discriminative power is the ability of an item to discriminate. It is not discriminate the high ability group from the low ability group. And suppose if an item is answered correctly by all the units of your sample, then does it have discriminative power? Suppose you have taken 100 students, one item you have given, and all the students have given right response. Or if it is an attitude scale or an inventory or a rating scale, all have given only one type of response. Does it have discrimination? No. Why? There is no high group or low group. So that should be discarded. If another item is not at all answered by anyone, then There is no discrimination. Okay? So, the items that are answered by all subjects, there is no discrimination. Such items should be discarded. Items that are not answered, that also doesn't have discriminative power. Such items also need to be discarded. And those items that are answered correctly only by superior group and not answered by the lower group, that is called as, that such items have discriminative power. Do you understand discriminative power? Okay. How do we calculate the discriminative power? Discriminative power is given by the proportion of right responses. Proportion of right responses minus the proportion of wrong responses. What is P? P is proportion. Suppose out of 100 students, your sample consists of 100. Sample size is 100. And item number 20. Item number 20. 20 is answered by, say, this is high group. High group. The high group have answered this item 35. 35 members have answered correctly. And in low group, only 10 students have answered correctly. Then what is the percentage? This percentage is 35 and this percentage is 10. And that you need to convert into proportions. Proportion. Then you get, this is 0.35 and this will be 0.1. Then what is the difference? 0.25. 0.25 is the proportion, the DP value. Okay? Then next. Before that, one more concept has come. And how we calculate the difficulty value? Difficulty value. Similarly, this is no. It is not in terms of proportion. Percentage. It is in terms of percentages. Difficulty value is percentage of right responses minus percentage of wrong responses. Okay?
Here, what is high group and low group?
You will, sir, please wait.
Okay.
Please wait, because I have to take you slowly to the concept. Okay? Okay. Next index. See, what is index of discrimination? Index of discrimination. This index of discrimination is the ability of an item on the basis of discrimination made between superiors and inferiors. That is given by blood and bold. And similarly, it is nothing but this value, DP value, they are calling as discriminative index. Another, next, discriminative being, another person defined discriminative power as the degree to which the single item separates the superior group from the inferior group in the trait that is being measured. Okay? And Marshall and Hales defined discriminative power as the extent to which success or failure on the item indicates the position of the trait or achievement being measured. The same thing, they put in different vocabulary. Next please. Say, discriminative power is of two types. One is item reliability, another is item validity. What is item reliability? You know the item reliability. Suppose there are high group students and you are leaving the middle group. The degree to which an item, this is an item, there are so many spelling mistakes. An item distinguish between high and low groups. They are high and low on the basis of the same test scores. Suppose you conduct mathematics test, multiple choice questions, and if you are dividing the whole group as high group and low group, and for each item you are calculating DP, and then if you have the DP of the desirable value, then it is called as item reliability. The same test, on the same test score you are using. But this can be calculated with point biserial correlation, and there are some methods of correlation, different methods of correlation. Timetable you know the types of correlations. Correlation. Over. There are different types of correlations. One is, listen to me. There are different types of correlations. One is that is based upon the direction of movement. Correlations are of different types. Based upon the direction of movement, if both the variables move in the same direction, it is called as positive. If one moves in positive, if the two variables move in opposite directions, then it is negative. And if one variable is moving and whether there is no change in another variable, then there is no correlation. And not like that. The types of correlation based upon the nature as well as the nature of the traits that we are measuring, and using the scales of measurement. See, there are different scales of measurement. Nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio scale, and some attributes, subtle attributes or characteristics can be measured as in nominal or in ordinal scales. Say, how many students got distinction marks? How many students got first class? Like that, you count the frequencies at 10. And when it comes to ranking, first rank, second rank, third rank, the position, then it is called as ordinal. Whereas what is your achievement in mathematics or in English? What you do from a continuum, from 0, it means if the maximum score is maximum score is 100, the score ranges from 0 to 100. It is a continuum. So it is called as, with intervals you can make. As per your convenience you can make 10, 20 or 5 or 1, 2, 3, like that. You give the interval with equal differences in between two scores. And if there are different types of correlations, like tell me. What? Huh? Before that, biserial correlation. Biserial correlation, point biserial correlation. Yes. Biserial correlation and pi coefficient, tetrachoric. This pi coefficient is something different, and tetrachoric correlation, like that. This biserial correlation, what is that biserial correlation? Say, you want to find out the correlation between two traits, x and y. Suppose you want to say the mental health of your sample. Mental health can be measured in interval scale. You obtain scores. And you want to see, depending upon the mental health, how many are socially adjusted and how the students or your sample is maladjusted. Socially well adjusted, socially maladjusted. You want to know their social adjustment. Maladjusted, well adjusted. This is a trait which is divided in between two, only in two, or mental health and the achievement of how many students answered correctly or wrongly. Say yes or no. Like that, when there is the variable is in dichotomy. You just measure them in dichotomy. Well adjusted or poorly adjusted, or yes or no, true or false, like that. If such is the case, you use point biserial correlation. Another thing is, in point biserial correlation, what you do is both the variables can be dichotomized, or both the variables are in terms of interval scale. Both the variables are in terms of interval scale. What you do, you keep only one variable in interval scale and another variable in dichotomous type. In such cases, it is point biserial correlation. And in tetrachoric correlation, both the variables can be divided into discrete groups. 2 groups or 4 groups or 3 groups, like that. And in such cases, you use tetrachoric correlation. Pi coefficient is another type of statistical measurement to see the relationship between variables. And here, the point biserial correlation between item and the total test score. Here you know how to identify the product moment correlation. First you have to find out the total test score for each sample. Sample 1 to 50. What is the total score? Total score on the test for this student. You take, for example, he got 38 and here one got 58, 50 and another got 69. Like that you take the score. And you have to find out this. For that you have to calculate mean. And for another test is dichotomized. You have to calculate proportion of right responses and proportion of wrong responses. It takes much time. All these things you can simply use computer, and you have to ask whether you need a biserial correlation or a point biserial correlation or a tetrachoric correlation. If nowadays it is not necessary to learn the process, but it is necessary to know what type of statistic need to be. All these things you remember. Okay, thank you. And that is called as item reliability. And item validity is the degree to which an item differentiates between high and low groups as high or low on the basis of some other criterion other than the test prepared. That means you are testing. You have incorporated mental health items. Mental health scale you have prepared, and mental health, in that scale there are 50 items. For each item you see the response pattern, and you have to divide the group as high group or low group, not on the basis of mental health. You use intelligence test to the same test. The relevant test you have to select and use or adjustment scale. Like that, you have to select a criterion test, and based upon the criterion test scores, you divide the group into high or low group, and then you see their performance for each and every item. And that is called as item validity. Like this, you have to establish item reliability and item validity. For those two things, you use only point biserial. Next. Difficulty value. Difficulty value is the proportion of right responses on any item. Difficulty value is important for two basic reasons. One is the difficulty value directly influences the shape of the total test scores and their standard deviation. Is it not? Is standard deviation is not affected? Tell me, are you not following?
Yes, sorry.
Does it affect the standard deviation or not?
Yes.
Difficulty value influences the reliability of the total test scores, which is statistically defined as self-correlation of the test. Okay? Next. Sir, next. Now you see the procedure of item analysis. Sir, keep this, I feel చేతులు నాకు కొంచెం ప్రాబ్లం ఉంది సార్. Is my voice not audible? You keep it or not? Okay, remove. Now you have conducted the pilot study. When you conduct a pilot study, a question arises: how many should be your sample? What is the sample size for the pilot study? If you are going to standardize the tool, then your sample size should be minimum 370 and above. 370 and above. The sample size should be minimum 370 and above. Minimum 370. Listen to me. Minimum 370. if you are going to standardize, if it is for PhD or project work or MPhil work, the pilot study should, minimum sample should be 370 in quantitative studies. See,
In total number of 100, you are saying, ma'am?
yes.
For 100, 370. Sorry. For 1000, 370.
No, not for 1000.
What is
Your
370?
pilot study, sample size should be 370. The sample
Population.
size.
See, sample means after coming there, taking the sample only, then why do you ask the question?
The population, listen to me. You give me one example. Straight, one example.
Okay, I am studying the government school students or my population.
Where?
In Tamil Nadu, in Chennai, if I take Chennai, government school students from 6 to 10.
6 to 10.
Are my
So
population.
your population consists of all the government schools in Chennai jurisdiction, all the government schools, whether it is 6th to
10.
6th to 10, all those schools. You should be aware of your population size.
Okay.
And out of that population, you have to select a sample of required size. It may be 1000 or maybe 2000, and the sir said if it is 10% of.
So you are saying 370 percentage?
No, not 370 number. How many are there? How many are there?
Subjects, we can say it as subjects.
Subjects.
If my population is very big, then 370 is enough.
No, it is only for pilot study, not for final study. What I am telling, it is only to standardize your tool. You are not going for the final study. It is only to standardize. It is a pilot. It is a study that you take before you administer your tool, in order to see whether your tools are properly giving you the right information that you need.
However big my population is, 370 is
Minimum I said.
yes, 370 is minimum I know.
Minimum I said 370 only for pilot study, not for the final study. Not okay. Maximum, if you want, you can select as per your convenience. You
So
can
minimum
select.
is 370.
Minimum,
Going for
there is
pilot
no
study.
rule, ma'am. The rule says minimum 370. It should not be below 370. If you take 2000, nobody will object you. If you take 2000, nobody will object you. But if for pilot study itself you are taking 2000 or 1000, how many you have to take for the final study, you keep in mind. Okay? Now you have taken, you administer the tool for your sample. So with careful instruction, administer the tool for all your sample. And then score first step, administer the tool. Prepare the tool to the sample. Then here, while administering, you should be careful enough in following the procedure of administration. It should always be administered in small groups, not more than 20 at a time or 25 at a time. In a large group, you are not supposed to. I have selected one school, and in that school there are 100 students. I take 100. Don't do like that. You have to again select small. By a procedure, you have to select, and you have to give clear-cut instruction how to place them to be seated, and what are the instructions to be given, and what is the procedure of answering then what is the time limit. Like that, you have to give the clear-cut instructions before administering. Then after administering, you score the tool the tools. As per scoring procedure. As per the scoring procedure. Now, how many you have administered? Take for example, you have administered to 400 students. Your sample size is 400. Imagine that you have taken 400 as your sample. You have, and how many you have to score all the 400, and the tool consists of 50 items. 50 items. The tool consists of 50 items, and as you said, it is a 5 point scale, and for all positive items, there are 25 positive items and there are negative items. And for all the positive items, strongly agree, you get 5, and agree, you get 4. Neutral or doubtful, 3. Disagree, 2. Strongly disagree, 1. And similarly for negative items, it will be
vice versa.
like that. And for any unit or any sample, any one sample, the maximum score can be 50 into 5. The score ranges in between. If all the 400 students answers strongly agree, it will be 55 into 50, therefore 250. And if all of them for negative, they have given only disagree, strongly disagree, you get again 5. Like that, maximum score can be 250, the minimum score can be, and there will be the neutral point. 50 into 3, 150, the middle point. Okay, and now every student has got serial number 1 score, total score 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. You have 400. Your sample is 400. No? You have, say, how much in between 50 and 250, you say the scores. You tell me something. 50 and 250. In between 50 and 250.
70.
Like that you have the scores.
256.
Sorry. Like that you can say, you can have the scores. Okay. Now then, after scoring, you arrange all your 400 sheets in arrange the subjects based upon their scores, either in ascending or descending order. Ascending or descending order, arrange them. Now, what? You have to arrange them in either in ascending or in descending order. Now, then, now I have arranged. The top score will be the highest one, and the least score will be the lowest one. And take out top 27%. 27% of units or cases or sampling units, like that you call anything. 27% of cases, and group them as top group or high group. Top group or high group. Similarly, take out from bottom. From bottom, you have to take out how many? 27%. Out of 400, what will be the number for 27? 400 into 27 by 100. How much? How many? Now calculators are there now.
107, ma'am.
Huh?
108, ma'am.
108. So 108 will be in the high group, and 108 will be from top. You take out 108 scores, and from lowest take out 108 sheets. So take out 27% of cases and treat them as when you are considering them as top group, this will be bottom group, bottom or low group, bottom group. Now keep the remaining subjects aside. Now you have taken two groups, top 27 and bottom 27. Up to this you could follow now?
Yes.
Is there limit for only 27%?
27%.
1 minute, I will come.
We proceed here.
See, some people say 20%, some people say 25%, and mostly approved or agreed is the 27%. There are people who argue 20% is enough. There are people who argue for 25%, but majority of the researchers agreed for 27%. Therefore, we also follow the 27%. Now, take the top group. Or the high-end group, or the high ability group. You call them as anything. High ability group or top group, like that. Then, how many are there in our example? 1, 2, 3, like that. How many are there?
Item.
400. Where are you?
Top group.
108.
108.
108. 108. We have only 108 in top group. Now, how many items are in our tool? 50 items. So, item 1, here I call item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4, item 5.
Up to 50.
Up to
50.
50, the total. Okay? Okay? Now, like this we follow. Now, you take the first candidate, look into the response pattern. Suppose he put, for first item, he scored only 1. For the second item, his score was 4. For the third item, his score was 3. And this one 5, 5, 5, and 4, 2. Like that, the scores are there. Okay? And similarly, you score, you see their response pattern and enter. Now, like that for all 108, you prepare the spreadsheet. After getting the spreadsheet, find the sigma x total of this. Total of this. For all items you can get the total, no? Column wise total you get the, no? Is it not? Column wise total you get. Find the x bar. What is x bar? Arithmetic mean. You know n, you know sigma x by n, you can calculate x bar. And if you want to be more and more strong in research, if your work need to be more and more strong, you will calculate even SD. This I will tell you later. For discriminative power, this much is enough. For discriminative power, this much is enough. And this also you can calculate. How do you calculate this? Sigma is nothing but standard deviation. This is sigma x square by n minus sigma x by n whole square whole root of. For each of the thing, you calculate x square, and then get the sigma x square and you substitute, you will get it. Calculate, and this will give you the x bar of top group. X bar of top group for all 50 items. Okay? And similarly, repeat the procedure for bottom group. Again, this will not be like this. Like that, something. You get the data. Okay? Now, similarly, now you have, how many means you have with you? How many means are there with you? How many means are with you? How many means are with you? My question, listen to my question. How many means are with you? You have calculated.
One is bottom, one for top.
For each item you have two means. For each item you have 2 means. So, discriminative power. Discriminative power is nothing but what we said. Discriminative power. What is the discriminative power? No, calculation. Okay. So now you know the mean, and you can calculate the proportion, no? And take the proportion from high group or the low group. The simple way is difference between the 2 groups and express in terms of proportion. Okay? Next slide. And I said high group mean by low group mean. Just now I said no. Take the differences between means from high and low groups, that gives. And I said you calculate T. If your tool need to be more and more strong, then you can apply discriminative power as well as t-test. T-test you have come across, no? I know. T-test. T-test. You have two means. You have two standard deviations. You have N1 and N2. You apply that, and now for item analysis, serial number for here serial number is for item serial number, not the student serial number, because we have taken means. We have taken means. So you have DP. DP value you have. You have calculated DP value. You have calculated T value also. T value also. If item 1, item 2, and up to how much I should go? Up to how much I should go? 50. And see the value, see the DP value, see the T value, and majority of PhDs stop with the DP only. They don't apply T or chi-square test or Z test. Okay? And sometimes many of the researchers like me, they insist upon doing t-test or chi-square test also. Why? Because sometimes DP may be fluctuated because of the response set. In such cases, to eliminate the response set, I will tell you what is a response set in the afternoon. And due to response set, to eliminate the response set, if you go further statistics like T or chi-square, it will be okay. So those items whose DP and DP is satisfactory and T value is also significant, only such items need to be taken into our final form. Such items need to be taken into our final form. And see, the accepted DP value, the minimum difference between the high group and the low group, or whether it is an attitude scale or rating scale or any achievement test, the DP value should be minimum 0.35 and above. Positive. Minimum 0.35 and above.
This is the satisfaction value.
DP, see, I got DP 0.2 or 0.1. Shall I, how can I know that I have DP or not? For that purpose. How do you get a pass mark? How do you get a class mark, first class marks? There should be a limit, you know, for that purpose to accept that item. And some people say that minimum 0.35 and above should be taken into account. But there are people, depending upon the nature of the test and the purpose of test, sometimes we need to confine between 0.20 to 0.8. And now, if it is an achievement test, draw the discriminative index graph. Discriminative index graph. This discriminative index graph, you take on one axis, either in x-axis or in y-axis, DP value or DV value. If you take DP on x-axis, take DV value on for achievement test. And for every item, item 1, item 2, item 3, you, no, not like this. You divide the scaling scaling. Like that, or 0.01, 0.05, 0.1, like that you take, or you take 0.1, 0.2, like that, up to 1. Similarly, dV also take 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, like that. Now, what you do, 0.2. Here, you draw a line. All you have to take for all your 150 students or 150 sample. What is the dP value and what is the dV value? You plot the graph. It will be like this. Now you draw a line at 0.2 and also at 0.8. Similarly at 0.2 and at 0.8. This is 0.8. And those items, item 1, in here you have to put, this is item 1, this is item 2, this is item 5, this is item 6, or this is item 12. And those items that are falling in between 0.2 and 0.8, you have to take into account, and the remaining you have to leave it, if it is an achievement test. Okay? Like this, you have to establish item validity and item reliability. And if you have dP value, say your mean of top group is, say for example 35. Mean of low group is say 40. What is the difference? 5. In terms of proportion, it comes, if you convert into percentages, again it will differ. So negative value, it is coming as negative value. Negative things cannot be taken into account. Negative things cannot be taken into account. And 0, when it comes 0, it will not be taken into account. Like that, we have to find out the item analysis and select only those items which have item validity as well as item reliability. Okay?
And that 0.2 and 0.8 you said no.
No. That
Is that
is
the
for
satisfactory value of SD?
not SD. For an achievement test, if you are conducting as an achievement test, and for achievement test, for every, your test consists of 100 items. And for all 100 items, you calculate difficulty value as well as discriminative power. And for item 1, what is the dP value and what is the dV value? Plot that point in the graph with a mark of denotation of item number. Similarly, you draw for all items and draw 2 parallel lines vertically at 0.2 and at 0.8 level. Similarly, column wise also draw 2 vertical lines at 0.2 and 0.8 and you find a square. And those items that are falling within that square, you have to choose. Remaining, you have to leave. And that means below 20, you are leaving. Above 80%, you are leaving. Okay, your group becomes more or less homogeneous. Your tool becomes more or less homogeneous. One of the criteria for a good tool is the items in the group should be more or less homogeneous. Heterogeneous items should not be there. So to have homogeneity in the tool, we will select like this. Okay, and the difficulty value will also be balanced. Okay, this is with respect to.
And one first you told no. Satisfactory, when you get the satisfactory level of DP, you say, what is the satisfactory level?
That is 0.35.
0.35.
For an achievement, for inventories, ratings, and for attitude scales, opinioners, and for achievement test 0.2 to 0.8. 0.2 to 0.8. Tell me, sir.
In pilot study, we are using the DP value with the support of the P value, we will finalize. Nowadays, sometimes instead of the P value, they are using the R value. R value.
Where do R means? R means you have to find. You have to find out correlation means
Yes.
with what you are correlating.
To reject or to
No, sir. When see, okay. High group score.
Low group.
Low group score. Low group score. You find the correlation. Do you think there will be correlation? With your layman's knowledge, we can answer. Imagine that this is the low group and this is the high group. Take for every item.
What I say, generally we are going to
correlation
teach us
vaartunnaranante
comparison between the two means. Okay, discriminative here.
కాదు సార్ అక్కడ ఏమంటున్నాము మీనింగ్ ఏంటి వాట్ ఈస్ మెంట్ బై డిస్క్రిమినేటివ్ పవర్ ద పవర్
ఒక ఐటమ్ రిజెక్ట్ అవుతుందా రిటైన్ అవుతుందా అనేటువంటి
ద పర్పస్ అదే
అవును
discriminative power అంటే the ability of the power of that item to differentiate high and low group. When it is differentiating high and low group, the meaning itself is saying the difference between these two groups. Where is the question of correlation to No, sir. నేను మీరు అడిగిన క్వశ్చన్ తో రిలేట్ చేస్తున్నాను. మీరు అడిగిన క్వశ్చన్ తో I am just speaking with respect to the literal meaning of DP with the question that you put forward. See, DP is the ability of an item to differentiate this group from that group. When it is differentiating, do you think that there will be a correlation? Correlation అంటే ఒక గ్రూప్ ఒక
somebody says that instead of the T value, here one of the expert what he said, sometimes instead of the T value we can use R value also to retain the
మీరు చేసి చూడండి ఒకటి మీకు ఆర్ రాదు సార్ ఆరు
లో నిన్న instead of the T value
sir you take one example or you find out r value if it is
నిన్న క్లాస్
ఒక మనకు ఒక కన్వీనియన్స్ చెప్తున్నాను if you calculate r suppose r is 0.25 or below 0.2 or below 0.2 it means that it is poorly related. The correlation is poor. When it is 0.35 to 0.6 it is moderate. And when it is ranging good. Do you want to use suppose ఇక్కడ మనం ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ పెట్టుకున్నాము మనం ఏం చెప్పుకున్నాము 0.2 to 0.8 అని పెట్టుకున్నాము ఇది మనకు అడ్వాంటేజ్ కదా ఇప్పుడు దీని వల్ల తీసుకుంటే పూర్లీ రిలేటెడ్ అని వచ్చిందని అనుకోండి ఇమాజిన్ దట్ you got only 0.2
what I am asking, can we use such
use చేయొచ్చు సార్ యూస్ చేయొచ్చు బట్ ఇన్ఫరెన్స్ తీసుకునేటప్పుడు మీరు
Better than this one.
డేటా
Okay.
నేచర్ ను పట్టుకొని మనము we have to take
Some people
chi
are
square
using
కూడా
that.
చేయొచ్చు.
Yes.
Chi square కూడా చేయొచ్చు. We take for example strongly agree, disagree, agree, doubtful, disagree, strongly disagree. And you have high group, you have low group. And how many are there in high group, low groups? Total. You can find out chi-square. You can also find out chi-square. And see, this is a non-parametric
Yes,
test.
non-parametric.
Whereas t-test is a parametric test.
Yes.
So, better to use parametric test when it is possible. When it is possible.
T-test.
Therefore,
Parametric.
use t-test.
Yes.
రెండు fulfill చేస్తేనే వాడాల. Okay?
Ma'am, how can I apply jet test?
Jet test, when the sample size is small,
More than
the same test is
More than
harder.
30. More than 30.
The sample size is more than 30. Statistically, it does not mean that I have taken 40, my sample is a large sample. Don't say like that. To use only statistics, 30 is more than 30 is considered as large sample. It does not mean that in my sir you said 30 more than 30 is large sample. Therefore, I have taken 35 and my sample is a large sample. Don't say. Okay.
One sorry, I am
Okay,
a
okay,
late
sir.
ma'am. I would like, already you explained. I don't know why. What is the why we have taken the 27% of the top and 27% of the bottom split out method? Do you know?
Yes,
Why?
sir.
Sorry, Vimala garu madam.
Ah.
My students ni
Okay.
madam has taken the 27% of the top, 27% of the bottom according to split out method. Why? What is the reason? ఇప్పుడు స్ప్లిట్ ఆఫ్ మెథడ్ లో కూడా మనం 27% తీసుకుంటాం కదా మేడం.
Split half method ఇక్కడ reliability లోకి వస్తుంది సార్. అది
ఈవెన్ జనరల్ గా క్వశ్చన్ ఏదో
మొత్తం తీసుకోవాలి. శాంపుల్ మొత్తం
ఈ శాంపిల్ లో తీసుకుంటాం. పైలట్ స్టడీ ఐ యామ్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ ద
పైలట్
పైలట్ స్టడీ.
స్టడీకి రిలయబిలిటీ ఎస్టాబ్లిష్మెంట్ కు స్ప్లిట్ హాఫ్ మెథడ్ వాడతాం సార్.
అవును మేడం.
వినండి, మధ్యాహ్నం వస్తుంది అది. అప్పుడు ఇక్కడ టాప్ 27 బాటమ్ 27 రాదు రిలయబిలిటీకి.
ఇప్పుడు అక్కడ హై పవర్
అది ఐటమ్ అనాలిసిస్.
ఐటమ్ అనాలిసిస్ గురించి
ఐటమ్ అనాలిసిస్ లో స్ప్లిట్ హాఫ్ మెథడే రాదు. ఆ మెథడే రాదు.
మరి అక్కడ మీరు 27% బాటమ్ హై
అది
గ్రూప్ పెట్టండి.
సార్ ఐటమ్ అనాలిసిస్ చేయడం కోసము మనం గ్రూప్ ని 3 గా డివైడ్ చేస్తాం. బాటమ్ గ్రూప్, హై ఎండ్ గ్రూప్, యావరేజ్ గ్రూప్. We left the middle group. We have taken only top group and separately and bottom group separately. For each and every item, we are seeing the response pattern and calculating the averages for each item and taking the differences between for each item, difference between the high group and the low group. That's all. And there is no splitting.
Okay, ma'am. Is there any standard instruction why we are putting the 27%?
Yeah, that just now I have explained. There are some researchers who say that 20% itself is enough. There are some researchers who say 30% is required, and there are researchers who say 15% is enough. But majority of the researchers agreed upon using 27%. Why? Because if the minimum sample size is 370, in each of the tail ends we get 100.
Yes.
In each of the tail ends we get 100 as our sample. 100 is a big sample to apply statistics, and therefore one of the rules of using statistics, the nature of statistics is such that whenever you use large sample, the errors that are unnoticeably involved can be nullified. It is called as inertia of large numbers. That is, the error variance the sampling errors will get reduced, and that is called as inertia of large numbers. You take for example, your sample size is n1, n2, n3. Like this, the sample size goes on increasing. goes on increasing. It consists of 10, it consists of 50, it consists of say 100, it consists of 200. Like that it will be there. And you have counted number of errors. Number of errors that have involved in that. And for sample N1, when the size of the sample is less, the error will be tall. And if you increase the sample size, the error will slowly fall down. At a particular point, the error will not come down. Even if your sample reaches the population size, the sample error will run into the study. So this is called as inertia of large numbers. That's why we take as large as possible for our sample. Okay?
Can we call it as type 1 error?
No, type 1 error, listen to me. Type 1 and type 2 errors are related to acceptance and rejection of hypothesis. Acceptance and rejection of hypothesis. You have formulated a null hypothesis. You have formulated a null hypothesis. You take, for example, in mental health, boys and girls would not differ significantly. Boys and girls would not differ significantly in their mental health. Boys and girls would not differ significantly in their mental health. And this is the hypothesis. And if you are now take this is a normal probability curve. This is the mean and this is 3 sigma, 2 sigma, 1 sigma. That means x. This is minus 1. Minus. X minus 3 sigma. This is x bar minus 2 sigma. And here it is 1 sigma, 2 sigma. 3 sigma. Your sample is falling in between that. Okay? Your sample is falling in between this limit to this limit. Now, your hypothesis is accepted. Your null hypothesis is accepted. Accepted means the whole area is acceptance area. Acceptance area. The whole area is acceptance area. But we do t-test. We do t-test and find out the level of significance. The level of significance. And if our p-value is significant, equal to 1.96 or greater than. It is greater than, equal to or greater than 1.96. It means that we need to accept our hypothesis. Therefore, our acceptance area will be x bar minus 1.96 sigma, and within this area it will be there. And your rejection, this is your rejection area. You are rejecting your hypothesis within this. So if your mean differences exceeds this, the difference is significant. You reject your null hypothesis. And here, what you are doing, see, the t value or chi-square value or f value, you are comparing calculated value with the table value. Table value. You are compare. When you compare the calculated value with table value, whenever the calculated value is equal to or greater than the table value, what you do is you have to consider the difference as significant. You have to consider the difference as significant. The difference is true difference. The difference is true. The difference is true. What you have to do then, when the difference is true, what you have to do,
Null hypothesis rejected.
You have to reject your null hypothesis. Instead of rejecting your null hypothesis, what you do, you accept the hypothesis. You make a mistake. That is called as type 1 error. Another thing is, when you have to actually reject the hypothesis, you when there is a significant difference, when there is no significant difference, we accept the null hypothesis. And the difference is significant. When the difference is significant, we consider there is no difference. And instead of rejecting the null hypothesis, we accept the null hypothesis. That is called as type 2 error. When there is no true difference, we consider that there is true difference. No true difference. Difference is not there, but we consider there is a difference. Therefore, what we do? We take the decision in a reverse way. When there is a difference, we take there is no true difference and we take a differential. So, in between type 1 and type 2 errors, which one is most dangerous? Type 2 error. Why?
Because we are taking, there is no significance there. Because there is a problem there, but we are accepting it. They are not
Speak in significant difference or no significant difference. We are using these two terms. In type 2
there is
error,
significance difference, but we are not taking it.
There is a significant difference. But we consider there is no true difference. To remember this, I give you a small layman's example. And you are passing by. A stray dog bites you. And you consider what will happen. This is a normal dog and you don't take any precaution. If it is a normal dog, taking no precaution is well and good. If it is a mad dog is considered this is not a mad dog, therefore I don't take any precaution. So, considering a mad dog as a normal dog is more dangerous.
Just like alternative hypothesis.
Huh?
Like that alternative hypothesis. Like that.
Alternate hypothesis.
Okay, ma'am, that's it. Okay, yesterday it's over, ma'am. But,
అందుకే పొద్దున్న సాయంత్రం క్లాస్లో కూర్చోవాలి మధ్యలో వచ్చినప్పుడు నేను చక్కగా ఆయన పిక్చర్ వేసి ప్రెగ్నెంట్ మగవాడిని ప్రెగ్నెంట్ ఉన్నాను అని ఈజీగా మళ్ళీ డీప్గా పొగల పైన తీసుకోకూడదు
There are three types of hypotheses. There will be no significant difference between boys and girls in their intelligence. This is a null hypothesis. And boys would have significantly high level of intelligence than girls. This is a directional hypothesis. And there would be a significant, you are not giving any direction. This is an alternate hypothesis. This is an alternate hypothesis. Okay? Since you do personally with an example, then only learning by doing you can be well versed with this topic. This topic needs work. It cannot be understood within 1.5 hours. You get a taste of this thing and try to understand by further reading and take an example and do. If there is time, we would have done with an example. Only to give the class, that is, even for that we have to be hurried. Okay?
Because we have to cover all
Yes, yes.
अस्मिन् सत्रे प्रोफेसर एम निर्मला ज्योति महोदय आगत्य प्रोसेस ऑफ आइटम एनालिसिस एवं डिस्क्रिमिनेटिव पावर इति विषयम् अधिकृत्य सम्यक्तया बोधितवत्यः। एतेभ्यः महोदयेभ्यः मत्पक्षतः, कार्यस्थले पक्षतः, विभागपक्षतः एवं च विश्वविद्यालयपक्षतः हार्दं धन्यवादं विशोमि। अस्माकं विभागस्य संख्या प्रमुख प्रोफेसर एन लता महाभागा एवं विभाग अध्यक्ष प्रोफेसर के कादम्बिनी महाभागा कृते धन्यवादं समर्पयामि। एवमेव अस्याः कार्यशालायाः निर्देशकेभ्यः, संयोजकेभ्यः, सहसंयोजकेभ्यः, बहितः आगतेभ्यः अध्यापकेभ्यः, अस्माकं विभाग अध्यापकेभ्यः एवं च शोधछात्रेभ्यः सर्वेषां कृते धन्यवादं ज्ञापयामि। धन्यवादः।